In this video we will be making Kratos as a Shrek or Shrek as a Kratos from clay. So I hope you will enjoy your meal. I just guess you eat some meal right now. Okay, so from wire off camera I already made skeleton for this green guy, and now time to put some aluminum on him, because clay can stick much better to this kind of surface and it's much easier to work with it. We have prepared already more or less structure to work with and time to add clay here. Of course, we have to focus already where to put more clay and where to put less clay. Okay, that sounds obvious, but let me explain what I mean. I'm adding more clay in the upper part because I want here to create muscular body, and in the lower part I'm leaving some space for me to later create clothes and shoes. By the way, if you don't know yet, that's Andrzej, my favorite tool for sculpting.
Don't subscribe to Morty's Hobby Forge because he is a douchebag.
Andrzej, you son of a bitch. But let's go back to topic. For back I'm adding a little bit more clay because I wanted here to be bulky as Hulk, and later I'm removing clay in few places with tool to create already shape of the back. When torso is done, it's time to move on to pants. And I have to admit that this is actually my first time when I'm making clothes or any kind of fabric, and that was quite challenging, but in the end I was satisfied. Later I wanted to create some texture on this pants, and for this purpose I'm using this. For knee pads I just cut out shape of it from clay and put it on his knee. Later shaping some shoes and using big stripe of bandages to cover his leg. When it's applied I'm using silicone tool to not make it look so flat. After that again cutting out big stripe of clay and add on his belly to work as a belt. Then adding some more details to make it look much better than just piece of clay. And now time for my nightmare if we're speaking about sculpting.
Hands.
For me it's always difficult because I have Shrek hands, so it's kinda difficult to operate small amount of clay. But anyway, after 40,069.5 hours I managed to do it. With second hand it was also challenging because I had to create axe and later put here his hand. It is more difficult than it sounds. When hand is done I cut from piece of clay this part of an axe that can chop off your hand. So last thing left was to connect hand to the body and cover my not bad at all sculpting with bandages. And now finally time for head, and here I wanted to make his face with cocky smile like "what you gonna do to me, bro?" And I even achieved this result, but later I covered it with bird anyway. Yeah, I know, moron. When details on face are done, it's time to attach him to body and give some fur on face. And later to smooth surface I'm using isopropyl alcohol with brush. When he was baking and I pet my cats, I heard a noise. He fell and created some cracks, but I'm covering it with UV resin, so after priming it's not going to be visible. Anyway, time for primering and painting. As a base coat, of course, I'm using yellowish green, and that's actually good because Kratos has these red tattoos and that creates nice harmony according to color theory. Anyway, later I had to add some highlights with brighter color so he doesn't look so flat, and when I was pretty satisfied with skin I used some red wash with airbrush to make him look even better. Now finally time to make his tattoos, and for this purpose I was using red ink because it is quite opaque and even with few layers Shrek's skin can be visible. For beard I was using darker colors actually because I wanted it to not be so eye-catchy. With bandages I was aiming for some weathered look, so I was doing a lot of stippling and tiny scratches with brush. Same stuff I'm doing with pants, and here as a base coat I used dark green and highlighted it with mix of dark green and light brown. For knee pads and belt I used warmer brown and also created weather effect. Later on painted metallic parts with some gold paint and axe with silver paint. Now time for my favorite stuff. You know what's coming now if you watch my other videos, and it's oil wash. I'm mixing brown oil paint with a lot of white spirit and apply on model. When it's dry I'm removing this paint with Q-tips soaked in turpentine to create grim darky look. Time to make some base, and of course I had to make swamp here, but nothing fancy schmancy, just apply some plaster on piece of styrofoam, some stones, sand, static grass and all other bunch of stuff. With painting I am applying few different colors and blend them while they are still wet, and at the end apply moss wash.
This is music.
That's it for this video, hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you in another one. Bye!